So once again, we are back here in the afternoon, the 4 o'clock hour. It's time to hear something good. And I have the pleasure of sitting across from this fine dressed gentleman who
Ah,
is a super dude. I know him a long time. He is a friend. He's a golfer. He's a cigar smoker. He's an incredible entrepreneur. He's been involved in lots of philanthropic efforts. Bill Diggs, welcome to the show, and your time to tell us something good.
hey, Steve, how are you, man?
It's just you on the coolest.
Listen, it's always good to see you. I thank you so much for this, for this opportunity. But sitting down talking with you, man, I mean, it's something that's been way overdue. We always run each other, run across each other's passion at golf tournaments, and like you said, smoking a good cigar. My philosophy in life, as my old man said, son, he's been through, the Vietnam War and the Korean War, and fighting with people just to stay alive. He said, what you've got to do is always stay focused on trying to live a good life. And so I work hard and I play hard.
Yes, you do. So
Yeah.
I think the last time I was actually in your office was down in Miami in the Alonzo Morning Charities office.
Yeah, it was, man. Matter of fact, it's funny. Alonzo and I text each other on yesterday. And him and I, man, we've been friends for a long time, dude. I mean, it's funny because I met Alonzo when he was a kid, coming here to South Florida as
Yeah, man. Wow.
the heir apparent to the Heat dynasty, right? He had just gotten traded from Charlotte, and we had written this crazy grant to Phil Knight through the Nike Corporation, and we wanted to help some kids in the inner city. And he said, "Hey, I've got a guy that I want to introduce you to, and that's Alonzo Mourning." And so, needless to say, that whole meeting discussion was, by way of my good friend Al Dodson, who is now a partner,
Wow.
managing partner of Bills of Sunburn.
Right?
And
Yeah, man.
yeah, so I mean, we were kids with no gray hair and a head full of it, right? And
That's for
you know,
sure.
I look up, and years later, I'm now running the foundation, working for Alonzo, and of course I'm not there anymore. But we built something together, man, and so him and I we continue to talk, and I'm so proud of the work he's done, in the inner city, because at the end of the day, man, I mean, there go you, but by the grace of God, and giving back gives to you, right? I tell people all the time, I said, there's nothing better than contributing to help make other people better. And for whatever reason, when fools like us step out and help these young kids, God figures out how to bless us. So that's
And
kind
not
of
the
been
truth.
my
I
story.
mean, I write about it in my book. Rule 27 was give to get. I've always had the mentality to give first. And I've been blessed that the universe has brought me great people, great opportunity. You're living proof of that, because Alonzo was not the superstar that Alonzo is today. And
He,
so, it's a whole different world.
well, let me tell you, and here's what's funny. I mean, and I know, we're going to kind of talk about what I do, but Alonso had one of those, meeting God moments, right? Where here he is, like you said before, he had just signed a new contract. He was the center of the Heat's world. He was, just coming off the Olympics. And, he was having a daughter that was, being born with special needs. And he found out he's got this kidney ailment, and I went to see him right before out of the hospital. And he said, man, I'm sitting here, with a pocket full of money and a tiger by the tail, and the world revolving around me, and I don't have enough strength to get out of this bed, you know. And so that's when, I mean, and he'd already had, the morning, the Alonzo Morning Charities, but he decided to kind of engage his family and call it the Morning Family Foundation. And so off we went. So, I leave the chamber, I go to work for him and spent a fun 7 years, man, running all over the
It was
country,
great.
begging,
Yes.
and people say, well, Bill, what do you do? He said, I said, I beg for money. I got no, I got no problem telling you that there are kids and people that are worse off than you and my job is to bring the cash home so we can help these kids to have a better life. Somebody did it for me. I'm doing it for them, and because of that, man, that's kind of my good story. It's weird because, when I decided to kind of leave, Alonzo, I said, hey, look, man, I got this great opportunity. to go to work for this dynamic organization, in Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, called the Broward Health system, of hospitals. And I'm working for these young Turks, Gino Santorio and David Clark, and let me tell you, man, we are doing amazing things, growing this hospital, this health system type stuff. And so I'm back at it again. I'm having fun.
I love it. I don't think people realize what a competitive game tracking down that money is. I mean, money's available. And I remember sitting with you and listening, like, I got to go and do and be on it. And there's no guarantees. So that's as tough a sales game as you're going to get into.
You know what? It really is, because, here's the thing. I mean, and I tell everybody, I say, you got to build a better mousetrap than everybody else, right? So at the end of the day, you got to find a way to run a sophisticated business, and you got to have people that are there. To be quite honest with you, many of them, I mean, we pay them a competitive rate, but nonprofit money is not for-profit money, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Than anybody else that kind of understand that they're going to be mission driven, so that as much as they want to be able to make a living, and all of them do, we've got, man, some of the people that work for me they can run companies. I mean, they're smart, and so, I realized there's a lot of things that Bill Diggs doesn't know. I mean, I'm a sales guy, like you, Steve. I mean, I've been in sales in one vein or another all my life. And I tell people, this philanthropic world that I'm in now, there's really no difference. But in regards to prospecting, I got to be able to make sure that back in the office, I've got smart people that know what to do with this stuff when I bring it in the door.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, listen, Broward Health we're one of the top 10 largest hospital districts in the country. I mean, it's massive in size. But because of that, I got a lot to do, and so in regards to figuring out how to do that, it's all about surrounding yourself with a team of people that are built for speed, kind of, sort of, because again, I'm always out there chasing, and we do it in a very nice, button up way. When you're dealing with billionaires and multimillionaires, I mean, they ask a lot of tough questions, and if you don't have your, excuse my language, you have your shit together, it's gonna be a problem. They can see right
Yeah,
through.
man, I totally agree. I totally agree.
Yeah. So that's my job. I mean, my job is to make sure that I can tell the right story, to introduce them to the opportunities that are there, to not only help them to build their brand, but to continue to have ours to move forward.
So I love that, but I want to swing the conversation in a couple of different directions. Number one is, I teach people all about personal branding, and one of the most important parts of sales is you as the person. You are clearly one of the most humble people I've ever met. You've had great accomplishments. You've been, around great people. I think one of the reasons for your success, and I want you to comment on it, is you and your ability to move or affect people in a way that they wouldn't normally be affected on their own.
Yeah. I mean, and I appreciate that, man. I mean, listen, I understand that my job to a large extent is to increase the product and decrease myself behind it, right? And so from a long-term perspective, I try to class out every relationship that I've got. When you talk about going and meeting people that have significance, they got to understand that you value their time. And how you do that is important as when you're not around them as when you do it when you're around them, right? Which means, you send them a thank you letter. You make sure you follow up with them in regards to what it is that you committed to do, and you stay within your time frame. And so that way they begin to respect the work product, right? And so that's really what I'm after, is trying to find a way to understand that the mission is bigger than Bill, but again, like you talk about personal brand, my brand has always been that consistent, follow through, and then make sure the people around me also understand that they're representing me. Big deal.
That's a truest testament, because I do not know anybody that has anything other than wonderful things to say about you. You always have a smile on your face. You're one of those guys who just really has learned to embrace life. So obviously, life threw all of us a curveball, how are you, what are some tips that you can give people, or how are you getting through it? Because you look unscathed, my brother.
Well, listen, I mean, I think the thing is, and here's the great thing about this time in our world. If you don't have a particular level of introspection and try to use this time to get better, then you are wasting your freaking time, man. I mean, because listen, I'm home, right? And because I'm home, I'm trying to continue to work on my personal brand. My personal brand is, how do I present? How do I build consistency around what I'm doing?
Wow,
Picking up the telephone, calling people, making sure that they're there. And sometimes, to be honest with you, when you make a telephone call, if you can't figure out how to sit down and smile, then stand up, goddammit, right?
That's the best line yet. I love it. I love it.
I mean, you could, because again, listen, man, in the hospitals, let's face it, people are dying, right? So we can either talk about the fact that it's really bad, or we can talk about the fact that those that are left, the job we've got to do. And I've just chosen to talk about the job we've got to do, because, we got to do it, right? Life's got to move on. We've got to be focused in regards to what we do. And we've got to find a good way to accelerate our own brand.
So you mentioned Gino, and I have yet to have the opportunity to meet him, but I've only heard amazing things about the young leadership, CEO quality stuff that's going on there. Maybe you can share with our audience, what is the mission, and how can my audience help you do what you're trying to do?
Okay, well, the mission, again, we are the fundraising arm of the Broward Health systems, right? It's the Broward Health Foundation. Our mission is to be able to meet the unmet need of our clients. We're called a safety net hospital, which basically means that if you're sick, if you're ill, and you've got nowhere else to go, from the perspective of being indigent to a certain extent, our hospital will not turn you away.
Wow.
Right? But exactly. But in the sense of doing that, because we get funding from the state, we only get $130, $140 million a year in funding from the state. We give out more than $300 million in actual, dollars back to that particular community. Now, here's the beautiful thing about it. It's kind of like, if you go into an emergency room and you've never gone to an emergency room where somebody's been shot, and as a doctor and you've never seen that before, you don't know how to treat that kind of a patient. But if you have, you become good at it. We've got the best doctors that have seen everything that you can see in the community, right? Because we've been around since the 30s as a hospital system. So we got very bright individuals who are part of our team, and our goal as a foundation is to raise that brand, and also to make sure that we can attract people who know they've got issues and need help that can pay. Because again, we also run, if you will, a very sophisticated boutique type hospital within that. Gino's been smart enough to build a brand on both sides. And so I support that, and I got to tell you something, man. Honestly, I use the word young because I'm impressed with him. And hell, I'm 58, so everybody's younger than me.
Yeah, man. I'll be 60 next month, man.
Right.
Holy shit, man. Everybody got younger than me, man. What happened, man?
Me too. Somebody said, well, what's the value of that? The value of that, dude, is I've been down that road before, and I know where the bumps at. While you go through it, I'm going around it.
I've seen it before. I love it.
Before, baby. And listen, and nothing scares me anymore, dude. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to be of a value to my boss, him, and David Clark, who's kind of who I directly report to try to make sure that we have, as much as we've got a traditional old brand, that we are rebranding ourselves as the go-to hospital for health services in the South Florida area.
Love it.
And I consider myself to be, one of those guys who, kind of takes that trumpet and goes out and blows that tune. So. Yeah.
And you do it better than anybody. You really are a leader, not only in the way you treat yourself, but in the people that you work with. So in the closing minutes, what would you want to share with people on how they can get involved or how they can help your mission? I'm always a phone call away. So educate me on what we can do.
So here's where we're at now. again, we are the fundraising arm of our hospital from a philanthropic perspective. Broward Health Foundation.org or browardhealth.org takes you to us too. We look for people to donate money toward our cause. And again, like we talked about before, we've got people that are less fortunate that come to us for help. You got $100,000 surgery. You're not going to, if you're lucky that government pays half of it, I got to find out, where the rest of it comes from. So that's my job. So we always are looking for people to donate toward the hospital that you're going to use at some point in your life, and that's really what we're about. But we're also too about helping people to understand that throughout Broward County, there's no better place if you've got elective surgeries that you need to take, because again, we've got battle-tested doctors that have seen and understand good, the bad, and the ugly. We're not some cute little place that when you come and say, oh, we'll figure out how to do it. No, we've done it before. Better than you, right? And so that's what we're about as well.
So I will share your information and the email address or the website with my whole audience. I'll close with this question. You always smoke the best cigars of anybody I know. What's the cigar of the day right now? What are we smoking, Bill Diggs?
Oh man, you know what? Actually, it's kind of funny you mentioned that, because right now, I told my wife the other day, I pulled out a bottle of wine that was one of the most expensive that I had in our collection, that I had been saving for years for that day. I'm using the good China, so I'm smoking because that's where I'm at now, right? So I'm smoking Partagas Solomon. It's a Cuban cigar.
Nice.
Very old. Been in my humidor for years. Good buddy of mine gave me a couple, and as a matter of fact, I can't wait till tomorrow night, man. I'm going to sit on my balcony and pull out another one, and I smoke it to the nub, dude. So I'm savoring it. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. You have been a treat to reconnect with, and that's part of what my philosophy is now. Reconnect with the people who got you there, who you have connection with. You're the best. I hope that my audience and you can count on me, help you on your mission. And thank you for sharing your time and telling us something good.
Steven, listen, man, always good to see you, brother. And my best to you and your son, dude. I've been watching him. He's killing it.
He's killing it, man. Making me look good, man.
He's better looking than you. I'm telling you right now, you got good genes, dude. But with that beautiful wife, that brought him into the world, buddy, he's on fire. I'm proud.
Thank
you
so much, man. You just made my day, man. Thank you. Well, when this thing settles down, the three of us will get together. We'll go have a smoke.
That'd be great. I look forward to it. Take care.
You got it, brother. Be good. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.